There are two downloadable files on this first piece that we're going to analyze. The first one is the music exactly as it appears, the way a keyboard player would play it, would read it. And the second file is a JPEG file, page by page. And the JPEG file has all the chord changes blocked off. So when you look at the JPEG file, you're going to find a bunch of notes with a box around them. Each of these boxes represents a chord that needs a Roman numeral put into it. So if you see a Roman numeral, if you think it's a 1 chord, then this entire box, you will put a 1 inside that box. Now, obviously, these boxes don't show up when you're really reading music, so you're going to have to learn mentally to connect all these notes and see where the chords are. As you get some experience going through this semester, that will get easier and easier. But for our first couple of experiences with analyzing music, we're going to add those boxes for you before you have to struggle too much with them. One thing to think about is when you're choosing where these boxes will be mentally projected onto the page at a later date. When you project this onto the page, you need to be able to account for every note that's in that box. So if we're in the key of C, as we are with this Clementi piece, and you have a Roman numeral 1 in a box, what you are saying is every note inside this box is going to be C, E, G somewhere. Obviously, it's a treble clef. So any note in that box that's not C or G, maybe you have the E goes down to D and then goes right back to C. This D is not in the C chord, so you need to account for that D by saying it's a non-chord tone of some kind. And in this case, that non-chord tone would be a neighbor tone. So you have neighbor tones, passing tones, appoggiatura, escape tone, suspensions, retardations, anticipations, and pedal tones, all of which can account for notes that aren't in the chord that you labeled for the box, for a note that isn't in the chord that you labeled on the box. Take care to make sure that every note in the box is either in the chord or it falls into one of those categories. And if you find a note that doesn't fit into one of those categories, then it's probably an error and maybe you've named the chord the wrong way. Additionally, I would recommend that you start looking at the left hand when you're analyzing a chord. When you're trying to figure out what Roman numeral is going to be in the box, look at the left hand first, or the bass clef first. This is a helpful tool because composers can't really hide what the chord is. Almost all the time, the lowest note that you hear is the root of the chord. And we do have inversions. Once in a while, composers use inversions. But the majority of the time, they're not using an inversion. And the lowest note that you see, or the left hand, what the left hand is playing, will give you a really good indication of what the chord is, what the Roman numeral is that you'll put in the box. So you look at the left hand, then you make a guess, then you look at the right hand and see if the right hand validates your guess or if it tells you that maybe you need to go back and revise your guess. But look at the left hand first and fit the right hand into it. And this works for all homophonic music fairly well.